In this video, I'm going to be talking about DeAndre Swift and how he can be a potential RB1 in 2021 and how he is a tremendous long-term asset in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And we're going to be doing that right now. What's going on, guys? This is Bruce Matson, your host of the show, Metric Scout Fantasy Football, where I talk about fantasy, dynasty, redraft, DFS, little Debbie, all of that. And if that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, show me some love, tell your homies, let's get the news out. But today is very important. Just like any other video, it's all important. But this one's super important. DeAndre Swift, one of the top rookie running backs from last year's class, is being drafted as the RB6 right now in Dynasty, 7.60 ADP. Some people feel like it's too rich for their blood, and other people are over the moon and want him higher. And I completely understand. I'm on that DeAndre Swift train, son. I like DeAndre Swift. I'm just going to put that out there. I got bias, but I also look at things objectively. And when I first noticed him was really early, the early stages over at Georgia. He just popped. Whenever he had the ball, he was electric. He was smooth. He caught the ball, the backfield, and he just had this little extra gear when he got in the open field. And it separated him from the pack between him and the rest of the running backs in college football. And then at that time, for a while, he was considered the best running back in college football. Many people had him as the #1 overall asset in Devy for a while, maybe multiple years even at that. And when it came out for the draft, Jonathan Taylor obviously was one of the top guys. He deserved it. Impeccable profile. Look at my videos in the archives if you forget. I got that for you. But DeAndre Swift kind of took a back seat because this was a very deep running back class. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got overdrafted by the Chiefs. Doesn't have a bad profile for himself, but just being catapulted by the Patrick Mahomes offense really elevated his stock, which allowed Swift, Dobbins, Akers to fall a little bit in rookie drafts. And you say, Bruce, they didn't really fall. They were still first rounders. They're still mid-first rounders. Well, if you put DeAndre Swift in this year's class, he's easily the 101. You put him in any other class prior to that, or most classes, he's usually the 101. That's the difference. And you have a 101 type of player, a 101 type of talent. Tape matches up, the metrics match up from his collegiate profile. And I like to backtrack to the collegiate profile, especially in the early stages of these players' careers, because it's still relevant. It's still there. It still paints a picture of what this player has done. We only got a small sample of what he's done in the NFL, but at Georgia, he has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and this has been in a timeshare. He shared the backfield with Elijah Holyfield and a bunch of other ancillary jabronis, and he still produced, averaged 6.6 yards per attempt on his career, but stayed in the 6 range that whole time, and in his freshman year, he averaged 7.6 yards per carry. So this guy's electric and smooth. He gets you yards after contact, yards after the catch, was a receiving threat too out of the backfield, even though he was pretty much used in he was the primary ball carrier pretty much, but he was still sharing in a committee. He caught 73 passes over the course of his 3-year career, so that's pretty solid. And if you want to look at his athletic attributes, because athleticism matters for running backs, 4.48 40-yard dash, and that's an 83rd percentile size-adjusted speed score when you equate that he's 5'8", 212 pounds. So he has the BMI, he has the size to go with it. And then his draft capital, being drafted early in the 2nd round, proves that the Lions are heavily invested in him. An early 2nd round pick is a lot for a running back, especially for a franchise. To pull the trigger that early, that means they're pretty enticed from what they saw. Highly productive in college, as I said 21 percentile college dominator rating, 6.2 yards per carry on his career, and had a good target share as well over at Georgia. So everything checks out. Draft capital, athleticism, production. We don't have really many red flags on his profile. The only thing you could say is that he wasn't taking 200 plus attempts per year at Georgia, but remind you that at Georgia, one thing that they do during the recruiting process is they recruit the top tier backs, and their selling point is that these running backs do not have to take on a heavy workload early in their career, that they will be fresh and ready to go when they hit the NFL. And he was fresh and ready to go this year when he was sat on stage as a rookie. 521 yards, 8 touchdowns, caught the ball 46 times, 357 yards and 2 touchdowns on top of that, which is hella solid. That is remarkable for a rookie. Usually when a rookie produces like that, it means that everyone should be on board with that. That means they should be a top 5 pick, and that he's being valued appropriately as the RB6. I can't go against that. Also, he had 13 carries of 10 plus yards or more. So getting 10 or more yards on 13 carries, which that doesn't sound much, 13, but that's 11.4% of the carries. That's high. The top backs in the league, Jonathan Taylor and someone else, they're around the 12% range. Compared to the top running backs in the NFL for last year, when it comes to explosive output, getting 10 yards or more in carries, he's up there with some of the top backs. Averaged 2.41 yards after contact per attempt. Very solid there. And then he had a high volume, good usage in the passing game. 13% target share, very good for a running back. That means he was being used in the passing game a lot. And 351 yards after the catch. Like, a lot of yak yards. So this guy, when you look at his player profile, his athleticism, this guy, Swift, 4.48 40-yard dash time. He did that at the combine, and then that translates. We already see it translating with him getting yards after the catch and getting 13 carries of 10 plus more yards. So his speed is relied upon, and it is actually being used and is actually being functional. We get a lot of these good athletes that come through the draft, and we hope that they hit. They go in the second, third round. They get drafted by a team we like. Think about guys like Niall Davis, and they don't hit. They don't do anything, and they squander their talents that we saw at college. Not DeAndre Swift. He is hitting early in his career. He's only 22 years old, and there's just a lot of promise. One of the things that has been weighing on a lot of people's minds when it comes to the Detroit Lions is the transition of this team. They're rebuilding. They just got Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, new head coach, talking about biting kneecaps and all that stuff, saying all kinds of crazy stuff. They sound like they're going to be a slow volume, ground and pound approach team. And then they hire Anthony Lynn to be the offensive coordinator. And when you look at his play calling style throughout the years, or at least recently, recent history tells us that he has been highly lenient on the pass. It leans more on the pass than the run game, which seems weird to worry about for a running back, because you kind of think like you want your team just run the ball for the running back, just carry it. However, Swift's a receiving threat out of the backfield with a coach that wants to call more than 50% of his plays towards the pass. That leans in his favor. That means he has the potential to catch more than 46 balls, which is what he had last year. And another reason this lends to that notion in PPR is that when you look at this Detroit Lions roster, I'm sorry, Lions fans, but when you look at this roster, you got Jared Goff at quarterback, Kenny Galladay's gone. You do not think of this team as a team that's going to make the playoffs, win more than 10 games, come out of nowhere, and just thrash the NFL and win a lot of games, be playing ahead. This looks like a team that's going to be playing behind a lot. This looks like a team that would rather rebuild. Those situations, when you're playing behind, you're going to be playing catch-up. When you're playing catch-up, you're going to be throwing it more. That means Swift's going to be on the field, and he's going to be on the field catching passes, which equates to more fantasy football production for us, especially in PPR leagues, which should be our standard now. PPR, which most people are playing in. So that helps out a lot. And I see him used more in the passing game this year than last year. They're going to notice that. They're going to want to get him in space. They've mentioned it before. Dan Campbell's mentioned that they want to see what they can do with Swift. They want a game plan around him. And he's a top-tier back when it comes to talent, when it comes to what he can do. And I know they signed Jamal Williams. I know it's a 2-year, $6 million deal, so $3 million a year, technically, if you split it up evenly. However, that contract's got a potential out in 2021 due to how the dead cap is structured. So he may be just on the team just one season and get cut. It's highly likely. He has to exceed what they're paying him. He has to exceed with good production. Pretty much something has to happen to Swift, and he has to overtake the backfield. I don't see that happening. This guy has not been able to really put it together, even though he's been decent for the Packers in a supplementary role next to Aaron Jones. Last 3 seasons, he has 18% opportunity share, very low, obviously, and a 29.73% rushing production of the offense. So he's getting 30% of the rushing production for the Packers. So I get it, they have Aaron Jones, but it's not like he was able to take his opportunities and just smash and then earn more production. Like, I get it. They use Jones a lot, but a stud running back like Swift, Jonathan Taylor, Ezekiel Elliott when he was younger, Christian McCaffrey, think if you put them in that role and they had a second supplementary role, they would have smashed, and then they would earn more of a market share of that production, where he just had 30%. And he wasn't able to eat more than that. He was all right in a supplementary role. He's a good number 2 back. But that's all we're going to probably see from him here in Detroit. Half of that is because he's a less than optimal athlete. 5'9", 40-yard dash. When he ran at the combine, 45th percentile size adjusted speed score. Agility score is piss poor, 13 percentile, really bad, no burst score at all pretty much. And it's just like he sees the crease, he sees the hole, he has good vision, he gets through it, but he's not really able to do much with it. He's very fundamental, he's a good back, but for taking over an offense, being the key contributor, being the guy, he's just not capable. DeAndre Swift's more than capable. The difference between him and Williams is night and day. And Swift, after everything's said and done, he may end up being better than Aaron Jones. This may be an even tougher road for Jamal Williams to hoe for him to even get opportunity to share, especially once this new coaching staff gets a taste of DeAndre Swift. They're going to roll into camp with a horrific offense with not much to work with, and DeAndre Swift's going to be their shining light. Redraft is different. I imagine you're going to catch him at some good price points, because redraft, the fantasy managers are just not as attuned to player values as well, so you're going to be able to catch them values. The FFPC league is a little different. There's going to be guys taking their shots on him, but your basic backyard dynasty league, Swift's going to be a good discount, good palatable price point, a guy that could give you a good ROI. Guarantee on that. I guarantee you this. Looking at the future towards August, Swift is going to be a guy that we're going to want to be drafting left and right for seasonal league. That's it. That's everything I got on Swift. So take it or leave it, but make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. Help me out on that algorithm so I can get noticed, son. Tell your homies, and I'll catch you next time.